What's up, guys? Welcome back to another tutorial. In today's episode, we're going to add in AI looking at the player, AI chasing player, and the AI attacking the player. If you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the Discord. You can also download the project files on Patreon. Links to both of those will be in the description. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first thing we're going to do, if you haven't yet, I did this off camera, but go ahead and comment our different codes and you can rename those. That way it cleans that up some. I'm just going to leave this here so you can kind of look at it. This is what I named mine. And once you get that done, then we're going to go into adding in the AI chasing the player. So first thing we want to do is we want to add in our components here of our AI. We want to add a pawn sensing. So if you just type in SEN, it should pull it up. So pawn sensing, and I'm gonna name this sense player. Then I'm gonna right click, add event, add on C pawn. And this is gonna create an event for us to be able to use this sense player. Also, take a look at our site radius. We can lower that down to 1,000. Sensing interval, I'm going to do that 0.1. Max sound, you don't really need to mess with any of that right now. If you add in sound stuff, that's what you would use for that. Want to make sure C pawns is ticked. And peripheral vision angle, let's do 70 instead of 90. And compile and save that. So first thing we want to do is add in a sequence after our on C pawn. We want to do two different things here. First one, we want to get the character movement of the AI. We want to set max walk speed. We're going to do 400. I believe that's what the blend space was. AI blend space. No, walks 175. I'm sorry. So let's do max walk 175. Actually, no. Let's do, no, because we're setting our run speed here. So let's do 600. I believe that's what we're setting. Let me double check that just to make sure. Yeah, that's our run speed that we're setting. Let's see, we got that at what, 600? Yeah, let's lower that to 400. Let's do 400 instead of 600. First, we're going to need to delete this run. Change this to 400. That way it's just not running so fast towards the player. We want him to run, but we don't want him to be able to, outrun the player. And then we can save that. And then we'll set this to 400. And then off of that, we're going to do AI move 2. And the pawn, we're going to connect to this pawn here. All right. And then from our then one, I want to add a re-triggerable delay. And we're going to set this to 2.5. You can set this to 3, 2. What this is, we'll go ahead and comment this, is how long till AI patrols after losing view of player. So, and this is going to re-trigger every time every time this event is fired. Okay, and then off of that, we're going to add AI patrol function that we created in the last episode to make it patrol. Go ahead and compile and save that. You may want to click down there and save all. And now when we get within all right. Oh, I'm sorry. Disconnect that. We need to set that as the target actor, and the pawn we need to do is self. That's what was going on there. All right, now we can compile and save. And he should run towards the character now. Yeah. So now if you're in the view, he's going to run towards the character. And before we get any further into that, let's go ahead and set up the AI looking at the character. So let's open up our main AI, and BP should be in your AI folder, whatever folder you put it in. We're going to go back to the main anim graph. So we'll have our locomotion default slot and our output post. Let's see here. First, let's go ahead and we're going to need to set up some variables. Let's go to our event graph. So from our then one here, let's do it is valid. And we're going to get player character. Should be player index 0. We're going to connect that to the is valid. And then we also want to get socket location mesh. So it's going to give us the target of the mesh and get the socket location. Can go up here and click no debug to get rid of that debug stuff. From here, we want to right click. We're going to promote this to a variable. We're going to call this look at position. So look at POS, and that'll be the look at position. We're going to connect that to the is valid. And then let's go ahead and duplicate that. And we're going to call this look at alpha. And we're going to change this to a float. And let's go ahead and set that right afterwards. And that look at alpha is going to be 1.0. Go ahead. Let's see. Okay, you may get a little error. Just go ahead and compile it again. It's just making sure that the default 0, which we want to leave the default 0, we're going to set that here. That's the whole reason that we're going to set that up in the blueprint. Then go back to the anim graph. And then we're going to, this is actually pretty easy. Remove our locomotion, move our default slot over from our locomotion. We're going to add look, actually. Right click here, look at. It's going to give us a skeletal control. And we're going to add this to our locomotion. Should create a local to component. And then we're also going to add this to our default slot. Should be component to local afterwards. And then we're going to click on that. And our look at location, we want to expose a pin for that. And we're going to connect our look at position to that. And then our look at alpha will connect to the alpha. Go ahead and compile and save that. Now he should look at us. Here, let's turn the chase off real quick. Yeah, patrol. Let's just go ahead and turn that off. I want to make sure that he's looking at us, which he is not. Oh, we forgot to set the, okay. We forgot to set our socket. Our bone. So bone to modify, we need to set that to head. Because it doesn't know which bone it's supposed to use. So I'm just going to save all down here. Now he should look at us. And we need to fix the the rotation and stuff, but he is looking at us. Okay. So we want to look at clamp. We want to set that to 45. Interpolation time, we want to set to 5. And that should clamp the head turn to 45 degrees. Okay, so yeah, he is looking at us now. And it stops at 45 degrees. Okay. Now we can go ahead and connect our move to. We can go ahead and close out our animation blueprint. We're not going to need that anymore. Got that all set up. And then let's go ahead and comment this. AI chase player. Show bubble. Going to change the color of it. And now we're going to add in a custom event. So we're going to right click custom event. We'll call this AI attacking. And we're going to add a branch. And then we also want to get our AI health. And we want to check if our AI health is greater than 0. Because we don't want our AI attacking if its health is 0. And from that, we want to do a do once. And then we're going to get our character movement. We're going to disable movement. So when the AI attacks, he's not going to move while he's attacking. Keep him from floating across the floor. And then from disable movement, we're going to play montage. We want to get our mesh, and we want to connect that to the in skeleton mesh component. And then from here, we're going to make this a little easier. We're going to add in an anim montage. So we're going to call this attack anims. And then we're going to go to anim montage. And we're going to select object reference. And then up here in the top right, we want to make sure that that's an array. So that should be single by default. You're going to change that to an array so that we can add in multiple attacks for the AI. So we're going to go ahead and get that. And then we want to get a copy. We also want to get the length. And from our length, we're going to get a random integer. And we're going to connect the return value of that to the get copy. So what this is going to do is play a random montage from our list of montages, which we'll add those montages in. You're going to, from your get, you're going to play montage to play. And then you can compile and save that. Click on your attack anims. We're going to add in 3 or how many ever attacks you want to add in. We've got 3 on the project file, so that's what I'm going to add in. We're just going to add in the same montages that we're using to attack for the player, since we're using the same skeleton. And you can compile and save that. And then on completed, we want to set movement mode. And that's going to get our character movement. We want to set that to walking. On interrupted, we want to add a delay so that if it's interrupted, it's a 1 second delay, then it's going to go back into walking. And we can compile and save that. Go ahead and save all down here in the bottom right. And then we need to reset our do once. So once the AI does that, we want to reset that so that it can start the event over. All right, file and save that, save all. Let's go ahead and see. We need to, okay, so after our AI move to on success, we want to add in AI attacking. File and save all again, and then we can test that out and see if the AI is going to attack us. Okay, so yeah, it does the montage. It's not going to do any damage yet. We'll have to put a weapon in the AI's hand, but it is moving to us, and it is now attacking. And like I said, it's going to play through random of those 3 anim montages. It's just going to pick whichever one it wants to pick, and then once we get out of view for 2.5 seconds, now the AI is going back on patrol. And if it sees us, we just need to get out of view for 2.5 seconds. And you can walk up behind it, be able to add in assassination stuff if you want to, because it's only looking at that 45 or that 70-degree angle for the pawn sensing, the player sense player component that we added in there. So that's what that our peripheral vision angle stops at 70 degrees, so it's only going to see up to 70 degrees from either direction. All right, since we got that set up, let's go ahead and comment that. AI attack. Add the bubble, change the color. And we need to set up dealing damage to the character next. Okay, so we're going to add another custom event. It's custom event. AI deal damage. And from here, first let's add in a skeletal. Is it a skeletal mesh? Yeah, it's going to be a skeletal mesh. Add in a skeletal mesh. AI weapon. Drag that down to the mesh, so the mesh is the parent. And we're going to make this the katana mesh. Drag that on there. And parent socket, we're going to do weapon right. And then we want to reset those, compile and save. Let's go ahead and save on the outside. And then now on the map, he should have, yeah. So let's go ahead and just check that, make sure the animations are working right. Yeah. All right. Then in our event graph from our deal damage, we want to do a sphere overlap actors. We want to right click, get world location. Actually, we need to add in, we need to add in a sphere collision on the weapon here. So click on your AI weapon, add. We're just going to do a simple sphere collision on that. And then our radius, we can leave that at 32. It should be fine. Don't worry about the error. Okay, so now we're going to get right click. Let me close that. Right click, and we're going to get world location. Rename this attack radius. Get world location, attack radius. And then from our object types, we want to make an array. We're going to set that to pawn. And this we're going to set to our sphere position. And our sphere radius, we want to promote to a variable. And we're going to call this attack range. That's going to be defaulted as 0 for now. We'll change that after we compile it. And then actors to ignore, we want to make array. And then we want to do a reference to self. You can compile that, and that should clear that error if you have that error. All right, and then just so we can see this for now, we're going to add in a draw debug sphere. We're going to connect our return value to the center. We're going to connect our attack range to our radius. Let's do the duration for 2.0 and just change the color. We're going to change it to like a pinkish purple color. And then off of that, we want to do a for each loop. And we want to connect our out actors to the array. So this is just so we can see our debug sphere of where we're getting attacked, so we can set our radius and stuff. And then from our for each loop, we want to apply damage. Base damage, we can right click, promote to a variable. That way we can compile that. We'll set the base damage, let's say 15. Compile that again. We can go ahead and set our attack range as well. About 50 to 70 is probably a good attack range. Depends on one thing we do need to do. Depends on what weapons you're using, really. So our sphere, we want to move the location of that. believe that is... Yeah, so we want to go ahead and click on your mesh. Type up here, pause. We're going to pause the animations. Go to attack radius. We want to move that towards like the middle of the weapon. We want to make sure that our parent socket, and then you can unpause that. So just click back on your mesh. Click pause animations. And our attack radius, we want to make sure that that's set to our katana also. That way it stays attached to our katana. And our sphere radius, we can lower the radius on this or increase it. We'll check it out and see before we do that. If you go back to your event graph, we'll get this finished up. So we need to, from our event instigator, we want to get controller, and damage causer. We want to do a reference to self, set the damage type to damage type, and compile that. And go ahead and save all down at the bottom right. And let's see if he's going to do damage. Okay, so he's not actually doing any damage. So what we need to do is on our play montage, our notify begin, we want to, what do we call that event? We want to add that event in. So AI deal damage. So notify begin, AI deal damage. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to go to those montages. So that's going to be in our combat. Combat anims. Let's go to our montages. We're going to open those up. We're going to add in notifies just like we did the other stuff. So our katana collision and arcane attack. We're going to just add in another track. And basically where our katana is, we're going to add a notify, montage notify. So basically where our katana collision would be at. Actually, we probably want to do, actually clean this up a little bit while we're in here. That one should work now. And then we can open up our other one, our next one. So you're going to add this to all your anim montages. Let's see, we can clean these all up. Paste in and save that. And then open up our third one. Move that to about here. Add in a notify track and paste that in. And save that. And then thickness, we need to change our thickness on that too, I believe. 12 segments, no, we shouldn't have to. Let's see here. Okay, so now it's hitting. You can see where it's purple, that's where it's hitting us. So we can definitely reduce the radius on this. Let's do a radius of like 10. Well, yeah, it's not really going to make a difference on there, because that's going to be based on our attack range. So we have 50. Let's do 30. Yeah, there we go. So that makes that smaller. But yeah, we want to leave that 50. Okay, so now that we deal damage, so this should be dealing damage. Okay, so one thing we need to make sure in our AI deal damage, we select our actor class filter, should be actor. Then you want to save all on that. That way it saves the AI on the map as well. Okay, but all right, so let's go back into our AI, our viewport. We want to move our attack radius. Instead of it being on our weapon, so let's pause our anims again. So click on your mesh, search for pause your anims, click on your attack radius. We want to set that more to like the center of the character. And then you can unpause your anims. Then your attack radius 32, because you just want it within range of your character, not necessarily the weapon. And then also what we missed, the reason we're not applying damage, we need to, from our loot body array, we need to connect to our damaged actors. And then also, we need to add in on player death, I know for sure. So open up your BP third person character and go to player death. Between this play anim montage and this delay, we're gonna detach from controller pending destroy. Then we also want to do that for our AI. Damage to AI. So before our destroy actor, I believe, is where that needs to go. And we can compile and save that. Now let's go ahead and test that out. Make sure the player's damaging us. Okay, so we're taking damage. See what happens when he kills us. I want to make sure he's not attacking still. Okay. So then he stops attacking after we die and we respawn. Now we can attack him and see. Make sure there's nothing screwy with him dying. And he dies and respawns. So there you go. Now we've got it set up where AI will chase the player, attack the player. You can fight the AI. You can get rid of this draw debug sphere. What I usually do is just disconnect this. I'll move this down here. Just do that. Comment this. Connect. AI damage. Debug. And that way that's still there, and I'll just leave that white. That way I know that's for debugging. And let's go ahead and comment this. AI deal damage. Show bubble. And we'll change the color on that one. So this is going to set our attack range. We got our attack range set to 50 right now. This is going to set our base damage, so we can set our base damage here if we want. We can also easily change the anims for the different anims. This is going to be our health bar and our AI health. So all of our components are set up. We got all our different components. So basically what we set up is once the character sees the pawn, which is our target actor, so that'll be the player, sets the max walk speed to 400. So the character, while on patrol, while walking around, will still walk. Once it sees the player, it will run towards the player. You can set this to whatever value you need to set it to. It'll move to the player. Once it gets to the player, it'll start attacking. If within 2.5 seconds the AI loses view of the player, the AI will start to patrol again. Once the AI starts to attack, it's first going to check to make sure that the AI has more than 0 health. That's going to go into the do once. It's going to disable the character movement of the AI, so the AI doesn't move while it's attacking. It's going to perform one of those attack animations, so one of the montages. It's going to deal damage on that notify begin. You can adjust that. You can also add a notify end as well to stop dealing damage. That way you have a smaller window of when damage can be applied. If it's interrupted, there's going to be a 1 second delay. Then the character movement is going to be set back to walking. Then it's going to go to the do once and reset that again and play the next montage to attack. While it's attacking, it's going to get the attack radius that we set in the character view. It's attached to our weapon. It's going to find the location of that. It's going to add the sphere overlay. It's going to look for pawns, and it's going to ignore itself. It's going to check on a for each loop, which I need to connect that again. It's going to go through a for each loop of the out actors that sphere hits, and it's going to apply damage. It's going to apply the base damage that we set. The event instigator is the controller, which is set to self, so it's going to be the controller of the AI, and the damage causer is a reference to self. Damage type is the damage type. And we also want to make sure that we have our actor class. You can, if you set up a specific class for your player, you can do that. You can set a specific animation and specific blueprint, so we can do third person character, and it will only do the damage to the third person character. It's still going to do damage because our player is attached to that blueprint. So you can set it up that way as well, or if you'd like, you can set it up as just an actor, and you can have, so if you have different characters that are attached to one parent actor, and you want that specific parent actor and all of its children to be able to be damaged by that sphere, you can set it up that way as an actor or a specific actor. So that's going to be the basic AI setup, fighting with the player character, doing damage, respawning. I think this is where I'm going to stop with the RootMotion series. I did want to get through this stuff for the people that have been following the RootMotion locomotion, so they could have a base idea of how to set AI up to be able to attack and stuff, and just have something that they can build upon. So next series, we're going to be starting from scratch. A character. We're not going to use the third person blueprint. This one, we're going to be starting a series from scratch. This is going to be more of building what I plan to use for my project. I did start off with the RootMotion, but I ran into a lot of things that the RootMotion wasn't allowing me to do. So I'm going to be starting a new series with more of basic locomotion with in-place animations. Make it more accessible for more users and stuff as well. Not everybody has RootMotion stuff or is wanting to do RootMotion, so I would like to be able to help those people as well. I appreciate all the support. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.